Director of the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center and the Consul General of India in Durban, Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Mr. Njabulo Jimmy Mr. Toki Mohoto, Mr. Sipiwe Mchunu, Mr. Piyush Kandalwal, distinguished guests, online viewers, namaskar and welcome to the 8th episode of Uhmabo Lwami My Journey. Indeed, today we get to interact with a very dynamic member of the community, and that is Mr. Njabulo Jimmy A brief background about Jimmy G, the sun and soil icon of Soweto, South Africa. Jimmy G, in his 25 years of knowledge in performing arts, has an overflowing roles of recitalist, teacher, manager, fundraiser, dance choreographer, adjudicator, and critic in the performing arts. Jimmy G has risen all the way through the position from karting, dance, manano running. He was also involved in adjudicating in the F&B dance umbrella and Zindala Zombili program. Jimmy G is also served as the chairperson of the karting for performing arts of South Africa, PANZA, the first chairperson of the GDM. He was the brain behind the concept of the Mojeko dance program in partner with karting department of Zindala Zombili program. Jimmy G is also served as the chairperson of the karting for performing arts of South Africa, PANZA, the first chairperson of the GDM. He was the brain behind the concept of the Mojeko dance program in partner with karting department of sport, arts, culture, recreation in June 2001. He was the project coordinator for Soweto Dance Theatre. Jimmy G represents the Jim Jacks Arts and Culture Production, the lead company as he is the managing director of the Karting Dance Maniano and the panelist for the dance panel in the National Arts Council of South Africa. He was also the facilitator of the Mojeko Dance Festival in 2019. Presently, he is training facilitator for the GOMAC for Performing Arts and a board member of the Tshwane University of Technology and in dance department. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this interaction between Mr. Njabulo Jimmy by Mr. Toki Mohoto, a social activist and author from KZN.
The Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban presents Lwami My Journey, a series of interactions with legendary contributors from the socio-cultural landscape of South Africa. As is per usual, we normally invite noted contributors and allow an opportunity of interacting or interviewing them with a view to understand their journey, as is the title of the show, as well as what has allowed them to become as eminent as well as selfless contributors in their respective fields. Today, I'm hosting Mr. Jimmy Njabulo Sibiya. He is an arts practitioner as well as a dance militant. He is a capacitated administrative personnel who has worked in the sector for so many years and indeed has managed many festivals of different note. He is also a player and a critical role model in the arts, culture, and heritage sector of South Africa, as well as the dance discipline. Mr. Sibiya, welcome to Lwami My Journey.
Greetings to you all. I'm so happy to be in this platform, and I hope that this journey shall forever continue for the next coming century and decades.
Definitely. Without taking any much of your time, we know you have a very hectic schedule. Kindly just narrate to our audiences as well as ourselves a few glimpses of your upbringing leading to where you are now.
Well, thank you so much. 1989, when I was in primary school doing sub B, there was what we call a religion subject, and then in a religion subject, then we were requested to illustrate our interpretation through drawing. Then I started my journey there at 1989. Fast forward to 1994, then I started to be a dance practitioner, working with people like Sibonakali Sondaba, Akho Dance Theatre. Fast forward towards that, then 2021, I started an organization called Gauteng Dance Manyano, which is an organization that is promoting dance in Gauteng, where we have also managed to make sure that we put dance into a better platform, where we have taught in a different countries, places such as Senegal, Brazil, Spain, Paris, promoting our cultural diversity. And later in 2006, then I introduced what we call carnival arts, where I was then became a producer of Soweto Carnival, Gauteng Carnival, and Joburg Carnival. Then my experience in the performing arts, it's more than 30 years, which culminate with the different dance types and with the different performing arts in the industry. And I think most of the time I normally say I smell dance, my business is dance, my language is dance, my hobby is dance, and then that is when and how I became a dance militant. And then even if I'm sleeping, I'm still dancing. I don't know when I'm gonna stop dancing. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that moving tribute to yourself as well as the experience you've had. Just kindly tell us, though, I know it must be difficult creating these different dance pieces, especially considering that audience appetites change, as well as preserving heritage is not something that one can take for granted. What inspires you when you create these different dance pieces and projects?
What inspires me the most, it's my history, it's my diversity of people, is the IKS, our indigenous knowledge system. It tells us that more than decades ago, our ancestors, they were interacting with animals. The movement of those animals, then they influence them to do certain movements, because also if you were to look at Tswana dance, Stapa
Mm,
dance, or isiZulu or traditional dance, they are also being influenced with a different living style, the different type of our background. Therefore, even today, as we are moving forward, trying to encourage the audience, our people, our society, to say through dance you can heal, through dance you can transform the society, through dance you can edutain and educate our nation.
mm. And also, how do you comprehend the success or satisfaction of an artist? I know some people assume or are of the view that when you have money, then suddenly fulfillment follows you. How do you separate the two?
Well, uh, being an arts practitioner or being a dancer, it simply tells you that it's a calling. It's a
Mm,
calling that is almost equivalent to a doctorate. It's also equivalent to a trade in South Africa. And,
mm,
the success around there is to practice and preach what you mostly love at most. And the finance part of it, it comes and goes, but the creativity and being a practitioner, it shall forever sustain.
mm, mm. How much power or influence does your specific art genre have?
Well, my genre of dance, it's multi. Anything that is dance, it's my genre of performing arts. And what makes it to be so unique, it's being a South African in an African continent, because it
Mm,
then brings along the ideology or the spirit of Ubuntu.
mm, mm, mm. That's a very critical point because I think we all appreciate that the arts, culture, and heritage sector does indeed engender certain qualities that we need as a nation, especially considering where South Africa comes from and all of that. And tell me, what about your important artworks and achievements? Any that you wish to let us know of?
Come again?
Your important achievements, ones that you look back on and say, I made it.
Oh wow, that's a nice one, you know. Um, I think first and foremost, my most achievement in the performing arts, first and foremost, is to say I have never went and looked for job somewhere. I have never worked for any like a white or any type of a company or doing like your normal office work. And then my achievement is firstly to say over a period of more than 30 years being still in the arts industry, being a practitioner, that is one and the first most achievement. And then secondly, by sustaining my repertoire company for more than 2 decades and also producing a dance awards in Gauteng to honor the most achievable dance icons. It's also one of my achievable icon. One of my other thing that I'm always proud about is the dance companies in Gauteng that I have managed, I have mentored, all over Gauteng, and now they are self-sustainable in going in different countries. And even still today, I'm a still dance fundraiser, I'm a arts administrator, I'm a dance critic, and I'll be forever being that type of a person. And I also happy that most of the time I will go all over the country representing South Africa, being deployed by the Department of Arts and Culture at the national level. And also, I have been working so closely with the Department of Gauteng Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture in curating, programming, mentoring the dance program. That is why today we are saying Gauteng is a hub of dance, Gauteng is a home of champion. And then when I look at those milestones, I keep on smiling each and every day, even if I close my eyes, but my smile is still there.
Thank you for that. And in terms of inspiring young people, I know a lot of them love to be practitioners in the creative arts sector, but sometimes they may lack motivation or a right entry point. How would you motivate them?
Well, moving towards to that direction, what I did was to align myself with institution. I have aligned myself with an institution called Moving into Dance, Vuyane Dance Company, Sibikwa Art Center, as a sort of like a FET institution, and also align myself with Israel School of the Art, National School of the Arts, UCT, as an institution to say when you are coming out of the school as a grade 12, you can still take dance as a career, referring a young upcoming artist to those institutions to say you can formalize your career, because that is why the Department of Education today, they are saying they can employ dance teachers. Dance is a
Mm,
career, and then for them, then they no longer taking it as a hobby, but I encourage them to say your family can still live through dance.
definitely. And tell me, according to your experience, has technology enhanced the quality of your particular sector or genre, or has it in a way perhaps imposed certain limitations to it?
Well, for me, the new technology, I can say only 30% has partially assisted in terms of archiving or preserving our work. But in terms of any dance form or in terms of any traditional dance forms or any dance discipline, it is more better if it's unplugged, because when it's unplugged you get to get a sense of feeling, a sense of rhythm, a sense of ownership, a sense of presence, a sense of interacting with the person that you are portraying the message to. But true
Mm,
to the new technology, sometimes it doesn't do it justice, because art, I believe it if it's unplugged. But once you start to plug it, yes, it is good to reach a wider international audience, but it doesn't have a spirit of Ubuntu. It doesn't bring a sense of social cohesion in our lifestyle, because we as humanity called of Ubuntu. Remember, in the past there was a globe. And then the colonization started to create borders. Those borders then started to formulate what we so-called today indigenous digitally technology that is present today. Now, that is why it ended up even further created those boundaries. And therefore, for me, I'm not so 100% with it because you don't have a sense of smell, you don't have a sense of touch of that art form.
No, definitely. And tell me, as an accomplished person, has this made your work easier, or does it still present a few challenges, notwithstanding the many accomplishments that you have?
Well, so some of the challenges that it impresses on us, it is more like the lack of what do you call it, partnership. Uh, there's also things that also makes us to be unable to interact, and some of the challenges is the lack of understanding and the support of the parents about the present social ills that we are faced with today. And then those are some of the challenges that we are being faced with, and we hope that when times goes on, we'll overcome such challenges, whereby the dominancy of the preservation of these disciplines, they are also more on a male dominance, and the female dominance it's so limited towards to that. And that is my biggest fear, my biggest worry, to say a woman is not only a person who's supposed to take care at home, but also it can be a dance icon, can be a creator, because they've got a huge creativity. And then now those are some of the things that we need to balance as compared to the challenges that we are being faced today.
Definitely. And can you please give us a sense of your observation on the current artistic landscape in South Africa?
Well, for me, honestly speaking, the artistic landscape in South Africa is dropping with 360%.
Hmm.
Reason being the type of the technology that we are having today, it makes some of our people to be unable to be unable to interact, because most of the time they're in their gadgets, they're in their instruments, which makes them to be unable to interact. And
Hmm.
also, you see the type of the migration in terms of the people who are coming from different rural areas, then they become urbanizing their work in terms of whether it can be a contemporary work, and then now our so-called roots of work, it then lacks its background, it lacks its indigenous artistic ideology. And then some of those things, they make us not to be in a position to say this it's so original, because of the migration, because of the technology, because of other countries. They are now sitting at the sixth industrial revolution, and then some of those things, they are also making it to be so difficult.
No, 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 definitely. And in terms of your own interpretation, do you feel that art or being an arts practitioner is a way of self-exploration, or it's spirituality in its entirety?
Come again?
I was asking, do you feel that art, if you're a practitioner, it's just a way of self-exploration, or it's about you engaging in a spiritual activity?
Well, for me, it's about spiritual journey. It's about spiritual engagement. It's about interaction of our ideology of different cultural backgrounds. Because as we know that in South Africa, we also interact with different countries, also countries such as India, and we then there's what we call good dance, which also it's so unique in India, which it also talks about their journey, it talks about their spiritual diversity, and then that is more of the interaction more than anything else.
Mm. Do you think art can change how society thinks or sees itself?
I don't think it can change. I'm saying it does change. I don't think, I'm saying it does. It does at the present. and then it change and influence our living style, because you see art is very broad. Whether you're looking at it from the music point of view, certain messages which they're supposed to portray and tell the nation and tell the story and transform a particular message, you use music. And then in terms of our beauty, in terms of our decor, in terms of our landscape, then you look at the visual art point of view. And then when you look at whether it can be sad or joy moment, then you look at the dance point of view. And then when you look at who we are from the drama point of view, then you can tell that when a person does a stage play, then it portrays a certain past or present circumstance.
Most definitely. Mr. Sibiya, it's been a pleasure hosting you on Lwami My Journey. I would now kindly request your concluding remarks, and then I officially wrap this episode.
Come again?
I was saying we've enjoyed interacting with you on Lwami. I will now just request your concluding remarks, and then I officially wrap up this episode.
Okay. I think first and foremost, it is my plea to say I will kindly request to be invited to this platform once more again, because of the background and the program that I was at today. It was not so conducive, whereby I would kindly request to say, let's talk about the past and the present heroes of the performing art industry, because we've got philosophers that we don't get to talk about, and then the information that we inherited from people like Ntate Ukoka, Ntate Khalush Koka, Stranger Khape, and Matole Mutsecha, we are unable to transfer that type of a knowledge. And then if this platform can once invite me once more again, I would like us to talk about where we are today, where do we want to go to in future. And then in closing, I am so pleased and be honored to share this some of the information, because we need to look towards to a direction whereby how do we then start to archive, write our history, write our knowledge, write our, making these dance forms or any art form as a syllabus to influence the education system. I think I would really request to say once more again in one of the other time, let's engage into that. Let's look at how constructively we can contribute, because we should not contribute for today. We should
Yes,
contribute
yes.
for the next 30 years or 60 years to come.
Definitely. Mr. Sibiya, it's been a pleasure. And as per usual, on Lwami My Journey, we host individuals who contribute positively to the socio-cultural landscape of South Africa, and by so doing assist us as humanity to evolve and appreciate our sense of oneness and global consciousness. Thank you so much for taking time out of your hectic schedule to honor us here on Lwami.
It's my pleasure. Let's continue to grow the spirit of the art. Aluta continua.
Thank you so much. Do have a great day ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Jimmy G and Toki G, for that very informative interaction. Indeed, we learned more. Not only did we learn about performing arts, we got to learn about you as well, Jimmy G. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us and just sharing this experience with us. With that, we've come to the close of episode 8 of Uhmabo. Allow me to introduce Mr. Sipiwe from the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban to render this afternoon's vote of thanks.
Namaskar and greetings to all of you. On behalf of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban, I am honored today to deliver a vote of thanks on today's 8th episode of the program Lwami My Journey. Today we had a very wonderful guest, Mr. Njabulo Jimmy Sibiya Usotobe, who is a chairperson of Gauteng for Performing Arts of South Africa. Sotobe sibonga kakhulu ngokuthi usicacisele ukuthi ungubani and umsebenzi wakho uyini. Sijabula kakhulu and siyabonga Sotobe ukuthi ube nathi this evening. And also allow me to thank Mr. Toki Mohoto, who is a social activist who conducted these wonderful interactions this evening. So to Usotobe Nobaba Utoki Mohoto, thank you once again. Thank you very much for such wonderful interactions this evening. To Director of the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Sristi Harinarayan, Sri Piyush Kandelwal, Dhanyavad for taking part on today's program. To those who participated online, we like to say Dhanyavad for being with us this evening. You are kindly advised to visit ICCR in Durban Facebook page for more cultural information on cultural activities organized by Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center in Durban. And once again to Ubaba Njabulo Jimmy Sibiya